I cut off my live stream and I didn't finish showing you my meal. Because not only was I telling you a story, but I wanted you to see how I made this meal. So apologies for that. I realize some people might miss this part, but I'll just do a separate description and title for this. So I have just cut up some garlic and I am cooking red lentil rotini. So I am a gluten and dairy free, by the way. So everything here is without wheat or dairy. And I'm going to, so I've got these red lentils that I've just boiled up with garlic and olive oil and a little bit of sea salt. And I'm going to throw in this Amy's organic chili and some extra salsa. I haven't decided if I'm going to do salsa. I might even put both of these in. Salsa with the Victoria imported Italian tomato sauce here. So I'm really excited about this. And I'm going to put the water. I'm actually going to drink the water that I have boiled the macaroni in. Waste not, want not, right? Like, I don't want to waste anything here. All right. So I guess this will be part 3 of my story. Live in a van, my solo LGBT female van life, how I got started on the road, how I got my van, how I got started. And this can be part 3 of waiting for the macaroni to finish boiling and what happened next. So I've been living out of a 2001 Ford E350 Econoline V10 van dubbed the Evergreen Queen since 2013. This is my 9th year. The end of 2022 that'll be my 10th year. You know what? I think my 10th year will begin May of 20 because I got on the road May of 2013. No, it'll be May 2023. That will be my 10th year. All right, so I met up with Bob Wells. If you're not sure who Bob Wells is, just check out CheapRVLiving, the YouTube channel. He is very famous in the nomadic community, the full-time camper van, RVing, live out of a car community. So I met him on the road, and before he got big and famous like he is now, hung out with he and a small crew of other nomadic people, including Al Christensen, who's now the editor of CheapRVLiving, the blog and website. If you're watching, hi. So we hung out together, just had some really great times. Awesome. I have awesome, fond memories of meeting up with Bob Wells and Al Christensen and Judy. So we hung out for about 7 months. I would say it was May, June. No, it was even less than that. May, June, July. So I hung out with them for about 3 months. And then I decided that I wanted to go it alone. I didn't want to caravan, which now I'm like, oh, I wish you would have hung with them longer. But anyway, this is where I was at. I wanted to really do solo camping. I was just at this point in my life where I just wanted to experience being completely independent. You know, can you relate? Share in the comments. I'd love to hear. I can't explain why I didn't want to. I actually didn't even want to be around people at all. Like, only in small snippets. It was almost like I needed to do some self-healing, which I did. I'm still doing self-healing. I think that mac is done. I like the noodles to be really soft. Not mushy. But these are 100% red lentils. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Sorry. Ooh, that was hot. I have to let them cool. a little bit longer. And then I'll drain it out into the cup here and drink that a little bit later when it cools off. It'll be almost like a macaroni tea. So yeah, I decided that I wanted to be alone. So we were in the Flagstaff area, and Bob Wells actually helped me put in my solar panels. He and Judy, really awesome. So I finally got solar after about 3 months. And then I wanted to leave the group and just be by myself. And so I didn't go too far from them. I still wanted to come and visit and maybe like hang out for an overnight here or there, to still stay connected with them. But for the most part, I just wanted to be alone, be in my own space, be in my own camp. I didn't even want to hear people. Like, I didn't want to hear loud music. I needed alone time. And I was building my online teaching business. Actually, I hadn't started my own business yet. I was still working for click.com, which is now closed. Teaching live online classes to homeschool kids. But I was creating the curriculum, which was very labor intensive. If you've ever created online courses, you know, it just takes work. It takes a lot of hyper focus to create content. I was doing a little bit of blogging. I do have the link to my blog in the description below, so you can check that out. I'm going to resume blogging. I'm actually looking for a home for my blog. It's like I'm in the middle of trying to decide if I want to use WordPress, if I want to continue using WordPress, but I already use WordPress for my education website, NatureGlo Z Science. So I'm just hesitant to have 2 WordPress websites. It would be so nice to have an already hosted website. I don't have to worry about any of the technicalities. So I'm considering using what's called Shift for Shop for my new website. It's actually free to start, but I also want to hook on a like a t-shirt shop to sell Vanlife t-shirts with my own designs. Because I'm also an artist. I like to do digital art on my iPad. It's like amazing. I love art. I've been doing art since I was a kid, but yeah, so I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my new Vanlife blog and shop. So I think, golly, I think I'm just going to do the tomato sauce. I want it to be really saucy. But I don't want it to kill the spiciness in the chili. So I'm going to add a little bit of salsa as well. So I get this giant thing of salsa, and it lasts me a long time. And being that it's winter, I don't have to worry about it going bad. But it's near the end. And this is called Paste Chunky Salsa. You've probably seen that in grocery stores. So I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid so it doesn't burn the macaroni. And I'm going to reheat the stove. Woo! Sometimes I've singed the hair on my hand when I've relit the stove. Okay, so I just need to reheat the chili. All right, and I also want to invite you to hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you know other people that are into van life. Yeah, just share this video with them. and hit the little bell next to subscribe so that you can know when I release my next video. And then check out the links in the description for the resources that I mentioned in this video. So yeah, I ended up wanting to be a solo van lifer. And you know, occasionally I will travel with people, but it's definitely not the norm for me. I find that I can focus a lot better when I'm by myself. When I'm with other people, I get pretty distracted. It's like, it can be really hard for me to stay focused on like my work, my building my online business. I wish I could change that about me, but I've tried. So I visit, but for just short amounts of time. I have a family that I love to visit with every summer in the Eastern Sierra. We'll hang out at a campground together and do cookouts and cook food together. We'll see if they want to be on camera or not this summer. I'm not sure. But that is a wonderful social outlet for me. And I also want to add mushroom powder. I have lion's mane mushroom powder. So that will make this tasty. I love mushrooms. Still not hot. I mean, it's tasty, but it's just not hot enough. All right. So we are all about it. Good eats. Okay. I know this is going to look weird using a fork to do this, but it works. So I'm going to put about that much. It's about a teaspoon, a little bit more. And then I'm just going to mix it in, and it'll give it a nice mushroom flavor. Plus, I get the benefits of lion's mane mushrooms, which are absolutely incredible. There's a long list of benefits that lion's mane gives, which I don't know off the top of my head. But I try to eat mushrooms very often. They're excellent for every system in the body. So I went to my first Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, RTR, which is a gathering of nomads that has occurred every year, except not last year. Well, it did happen online, so it still happened last year. But RTR, I went to my first RTR in January of 2013, and there were like 150 people. For those of you watching who know what RTR is now, I think the last RTR had like 10,000 people. This year, they're having it again in Quartzsite. They're having it right smack in the middle of town. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're the masterminds. Oh, that tastes good. The mushroom, I can taste the mushroom powder it's like a goulash, I guess. It's a chili goulash. I'm going to call it NatureGlo's chili goulash. So it's almost hot enough. Almost. It's got just enough kick. Not too much, not too little. So I think I'll start eating it now. So to be honest, there were only 150 people But for some reason, that first year on the road, I was just overwhelmed by groups of people. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not now. Well, it's not weird. It's whatever. Like shaming myself for feeling uncomfortable. It just was. For whatever reason, I wanted like my own camp. I didn't want anyone near me. I felt overwhelmed by what some energy healers call emotional energy pollution, like people's stuff that they exude in this Western society from stress, just from the stress of how we live our lives in our culture. I didn't want to be around that stress. And a lot of people were like off gassing because they were also new on the road and overwhelmed and like, you know. So I made friends, but I also like had to just get away and be alone too. So it was a bit of a dance for me that first year. I almost caused a fire here in the van. Someone had actually, when they were putting in the solar, there were Bob like helped me get the solar, and then there was a guy, I won't mention his name, but he crossed the wires on one of the wires for the battery, and I reconnected it, and it went. Thankfully, there was a mechanism. I forget what it's called. I'm so like not a builder girl at all, not a do-it-yourselfer. I mean, I can do a lot of things myself, but I don't really prefer doing it. So basically the wire like fizzed and frazzled, but then it stopped. There was a stop put in. I forget what it's called. If you know, put it in the comments. But I just freaked out. Like I threw the dog out the back door and like, I turned the switch on to charge my battery because it rained for like 4 days straight. So I get to Quartzsite and like we're on BLM and I'm out there all by myself because I don't want anyone around me. I find like the last road off of the last road to be alone. And then I need to charge my battery to get solar because, you know, it was raining. I wasn't getting enough solar. So I went to turn on the alternator switch and then I hear this shh and there's smoke. And so like I run to the back, I throw the dog out the back door carefully. I mean, I didn't throw her. I just she jumped out and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then it just stopped because there was a mechanism that's prevented it from blowing up my van. But it was so traumatic. I thought I was going to lose the van right then and there. Like I wasn't even a few months into van life. So I go running off back to Bob and crew. There were about 60 people in his camp gathering together, getting ready for RTR. This is right before RTR. And I'm like, Bob, help me. My van almost caught on fire. This is what happened. I showed him. He's all calm and like peaceful. And he's like, yeah, go ask this guy in our community and he can help you with that. And so I did. He also had a shaved head. What was his name? I ended up hanging out with him for a while. Really cool, fun guy. Older guy in his 60s, single. And he helped me get thicker wires on the battery bank. He told me it was really dangerous to have thin wires. It's a fire hazard. I didn't know any better. Ron. I think his name was Ron. So Ron was really kind to me. And he invited me to hang out with him at Holtville Hot Springs and to visit Slab City. So there's still plenty of time before RTR. It's like, we're like, this is in December. So we take off. I follow him over to, we went to Slab City first. And I was such a newbie. I was so green under the ears. It wasn't funny. So that's what my meal looks like. My chili noodles, my goulash, chili goulash. So Ron and I take off for Slab City. And you know how I like to be by myself. I didn't want to be like really. Ron and I weren't lovers or anything. We were just friends. Just have to clarify that. I'm mostly into women anyway, most of the time. So we get to Slab City and we go to this area called Lowe's where the single people are allowed to park. So he finds his camp and I'm like driving around. Keep in mind, it's desert. And this is the Southwest desert, the southernmost part of the United States, where the desert sand tends to be thicker. So I think you might know where this is going. So I'm looking around. I'm taking off into the sunset because I want my own private camp away from people. So I proceed to go la 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 la, and the van starts slowing down. I'm like, oh no, great crumbs. So, and then I proceed to dig myself in deeper and deeper, trying to get out. I was stuck in this, what Ron called sugar sand. Don, his name was Don, not Ron. So Don comes over and tries to help me. And there was just no way. We didn't have the tools to get me out. And I was so far in that he couldn't risk bringing his rig in or he'd get stuck. So I ended up paying a slabber $100 a few days later. I sat there for like 3 days stuck in the sand. Just taking the dog and I was kind of cockeyed too. It wasn't like, yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable. Talk about a stressful situation. And, I didn't get stuck in Slab City just once. I did it twice. The same lame brain thing of me trying to get away from the crowds, finding my own little space. Like, you just can't do that at Slab City. You gotta go where first you have to test the ground by foot, make sure it's firm. Even that isn't always a sure way of finding out. All right, so that was part 3. I wanted you to see what I made. Let me show you the pot of what. Now I've got tons of leftovers of my chili, Amy's black bean chili goulash with lentil rotini. And you got part 3 of my first year on the road as a solo LGBT female van lifer. Awesome. So I will continue with this series. But if you haven't done so already, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons and ding the bell next to subscribe so that you'll hear when I release my next video. And please go ahead and watch the next video that pops up, and I'll see you in the next video.